What's going on, good people? Welcome to the podcast Round the Wicket with Ryan Mayfield and myself, Vivek Ryan. We're going live from my hometown, Bengaluru. It's called the Silicon City of India, something like California of the United States. And Ryan is going live from Arkansas in the United States of America. What's up, buddy? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on here with you.
Absolutely. I mean, we are two buddies who developed friendship over the game of cricket, and that's what the podcast is all about. Talking about cricket, bringing celebrities who are revolving around cricket, talking to cricketers, maybe umpires and fitness enthusiasts, and discussing how this game is going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special guest, our first international guest. Our first guest who's going to be talking to us a lot about cricket. He's been a premium fast bowler for a lot of IPL franchises. He's played for the Indian cricket team, and he's the buddy of Ryan. Ryan, before we reveal that big name, I want you to tell me how you met this person and how's that you're able to get him on our show today in just a few minutes.
Yeah, so I met him while I lived in Bangalore and just made a lot of friends while I was there. And so had a mutual friend who knew that I loved cricket. And so we ended up going out and grabbing some food one evening with a couple other people. And, ever since then have just kind of stayed in touch here and there. And so I just sent him a message a few days back and said, hey, do you want to be on our podcast? And he thought it was a pretty cool idea.
Wow. I'm sure all the listeners will be waiting to know who this mystery person is. I don't want to even give away what he kind of does in cricket, whether he bowls or he bats or he's a fielder. That is like a mystery thing for you till the end. But I do know that today we're going to be talking about a lot to do with cricket in terms of how the game is going to go forward in terms of the COVID-19. A special topic about using saliva to shine the ball. I'm sure all the bowlers out there are really, really interested to know what they're going to do to keep that ball shining, let that swing come in the first overs of the game. We're also going to be talking about how IPL might take place in the days ahead, what are the teams going to be playing, how the BCCI might conduct this tournament, whether it's in India, Sri Lanka, or it's going to be somewhere else. And of course, that special guest who's going to be talking to us all about cricket. Hey, if you're a cricket enthusiast, I want you to stay tuned till the end because we've been talking about fitness and cricket. Over the years, the Indian cricket team especially, I know that a lot of other cricketers have taken fitness very seriously way before than us. But I know that at least Indian cricketers now feel the importance of cricket with the likes of Virat Kohli kind of really, really focusing on food, nutrition, exercise. So we're going to be talking to our special guest about how fitness is going to be playing a huge role in shaping up of a superstar. It's no more just, winning matches. It's also about staying fit. So Ryan, on that front, what are your thoughts about athleticism and cricket? It was always criticized as being a lazy game. I don't think so anymore, my friend.
Yeah, it's so much different than other sports, and so it's really easy for people to think that it doesn't take as much fitness. But if you've ever played, then it can be really tiring. Especially the different formats all have their different challenges. If you're playing a T20 format, then you get tired really fast because you're going and playing as hard as you possibly can. But then you go to something like a longer format, and it's much more about endurance, right? And then the different positions, if you're a bowler, especially fast bowlers have so many injuries in the longer format, especially back injuries and maybe things with ankles or knees, just because there's so much pressure and stress put on their bodies. So yeah, it's just really interesting. And you definitely see a difference in fielding on teams. The teams that are more fit, their fielding is always better, right? I know like Virat, he's very big on that. And even Dhoni before him, like there's barely anybody that's faster between the wickets than Dhoni, right?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think it's a big, big thing. And, Chris Gale's a great example of this, right? He's known to hit the ball. That's what he does. He's not known to run.
So we're talking about two kinds of fitness here. One is endurance, say for a fast bowler who has to kind of sustain for a long period of time. And then we've got somebody like Chris Gale who's a power hitter. I mean, he's got power in those arms. And the moment he connects the bat and the ball is out of the park. So we're talking about two kinds of fitness here. Somebody of the nature of Chris Gale who's into a lot of weight training, a lot of protein going into his nutrition so that, he stays fit and he's able to hit the ball out of the park. And then we're talking talking about fast bowling as well. Talking about fast bowling, are we already giving away the nature of the visitor on our show today? I don't know. Keep it locked. Keep it locked to our podcast. We're going to tell you who's our special guest today. But talking about your time in Bangalore, Ryan, I really miss those days when we used to play
Yeah.
cricket. Used to stay in a place called Koramangala. And Ryan used to probably play cricket on the weekends with the locals there. You got so obsessed that you actually picked up a cricket kit. I mean, you had a full-fledged kit with
Yeah.
pads and gloves and helmet, and you used to actually play leather ball cricket, not
Yeah.
tennis ball cricket. So talk to me about those days. I'm sure you miss them.
I do. I miss that a lot. Yeah, I played a little bit of both. I started with a tennis ball, of course, but then got into some of the leather ball cricket. And first of all, it's just so much different, and the teams are different, like who plays which one. If you're going to play leather ball cricket, it takes some investment and time, and so people definitely take that more seriously. But then you can go to any park or even just in the streets and find some tennis ball cricket to play, and different rules. You got to keep it in the street. You can't hit the cars in the air. One hand catch, things like that. And I miss that a lot for sure. But it was a lot of fun for me and a great experience, and I learned a ton and changed the way that I played from when I began to to now. It's changed a lot, the different positions that I think I'm good at, and but I love it and I miss it a lot.
Talking about positions and talking about investment in cricket, for an Indian, especially growing up, I think there is absolutely no, need for an investment in playing cricket, because I remember, and if there are Indians listening to our podcast, you can relate to this as well. While we are in the third or fourth or fifth grade, if we didn't have wickets, we used to pick up huge boulders of stone and actually keep it as wickets and keep 2-3 more stones on that so that it looks like a wicket. And we used to keep one more small stone on the other end of it. And, we used to get so inspired watching tournaments on TV like the Pepsi Cup or the Coke Cup or, or the Red Bull Trophy or something like that. And we actually used to make up small tournaments by ourselves. And we used to call ourselves the local Pepsi Cup. And whichever team, ended up winning the tournament actually buys Coke or Pepsi for the others. So that was our version of the Pepsi or Coke Cup. And, we used to wait for an opportunity to get out of our homes and go play cricket. And we used to take it pretty seriously. I mean, it's not like you give away so easily. Every run, every wicket, we used to fight over it. Sometimes, get into brawls because we don't want to let them win, and despite us playing local cricket. So the passion runs really deep for an Indian when it comes to cricket. But hey, you know what? This is what the podcast is all about. It's an American who comes from a country which knows nothing about cricket but has the same amount of passion that an Indian has. And I'm really glad to know that there is somebody like you, Ryan, who loves the game so much. But tell me something. While you were leaving India, I remember giving you a special gift, right? I don't know if you still have that gift with you. Remember what I gave you while you were leaving India?
Did you give me a cricket ball? Yeah.
I gave you a cricket leather ball, and I signed it saying, "Hey man, I'll miss you, buddy. I hope you kind of use this and play cricket."
It's
or
around here somewhere.
And I mean and people were like, "Hey, he's an American. What are you doing giving him a cricket ball? I mean, you should be giving him a baseball CD or some DVDs or some books." And I said, "No. This guy's is a Desi American. He's not really an American. He's more of an Indian." So that's how much we love the game of cricket. Well, in just a few minutes, we're going to be bringing our special guest on board. I'm not going to be giving away too much, but I've told you before, he's played the IPL before for several Premier Leagues, for several teams. He also played for the Indian cricket team. And let me give you a clue. Let me just make this a little more interesting. He comes from the place of Jharkhand. He's played for the under-19 Jharkhand team, and he's somebody who's also very fast. Now, you make your guesses whether he's fast in swinging his bat or fast in delivering the ball. But he's going to be on our show today, talking to us about cricket and so much more. Are you excited about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. I think I really have enjoyed watching him play over the years, and so I'm excited to talk with him about just what's happening right now in the cricket world, about what might happen with the IPL, about different teams he's played with, and so I'm just very excited to have him on today.
Fantastic. Talking about our special guest today, we also have flooded with so much of news about the world of cricket. So many things happening, so many developments happening in the world of cricket. Of course, we discussed about a few things yesterday, but today as well we have so much more to discuss. We've already told you that we're going to lead up to a discussion which talks about performance and which beats potential. I think any cricket team today in the entire world is looking at performance and not just potential, and that is why the players across the world have bucked up in terms of fitness, in terms of nutrition. I mean, I used to always remember the Australian cricket team being dead serious about these things.
Mm.
It seems like the entire cricket fraternity now has taken it very, very seriously, especially if you want to be a fast bowler. Oops. Fast bowler. Oops. Okay, fast bowler. I just said something which you should not be hearing, but yeah, fast bowler. So, what was your favorite, Ryan? What was your? I mean, did you ever bowl? Do you like bowling? What are your thoughts about bowling?
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
I started.
sorry, it's called the batsman's game. Cricket is called as the batsman's paradise. So, in a batsman's game, what does the role of a bowler have in today's times?
Yeah, well, I started bowling wanting to be a fast bowler. Right, that's what I thought I would be, and then at some point I decided to try spin, and it just went so much better for me. So I
Okay.
I ended up being kind of a right arm spinner, and just did better that way. So I like that. But what I really enjoy about it is it's almost like a chess game. Right, it's a chess
Yes,
game between the bowler and the batsman, each one of them
absolutely.
trying to outsmart each other, and then with
Yes,
being the batsman, setting your field right, knowing what ball you're going to bowl and getting that right so that you trick the batsman into doing what you want him to do. It's
that's right.
just there's so much mental to it that I think a lot of other sports, or even just a lot of sports enthusiasts, wouldn't think that is there so much. In baseball, for instance, like baseball is a great sport, but I don't think there's quite as much that goes into delivering the ball, and because the fielders are always in the same place, right?
I guess.
You
Okay.
can only hit the ball in so much of the field, whereas cricket, you can hit it anywhere, and you can set the fielders almost anywhere, and so there's so many more variables there. And I just think it's so interesting, especially if you're one of the people that's throwing the ball to the batsman.
Absolutely. Before the podcast started, we were discussing about how India still lacks a premium fast bowler. Oops, I've said that again, but I'll just continue. India still lacks a premium fast bowler, and how we're still looking for youngsters to kind of run in and deliver the ball at 150, 160 k's per hour. But
Mm,
having said that, I think in the a few years, what we've seen cricket. We've seen how spinners have dominated the game. If you look at
mm,
the Indian Premier League, it's the spinners which have always delivered for all their teams. Be it RCB with Yuzvendra Chahal. Every time RCB
mm,
wanted a wicket, it was Yuzvendra Chahal who jumped in and got
mm.
us those breakthroughs. Especially a guy like Rashid Khan. Imagine Rashid Khan coming in
Oh
from
yeah,
Afghanistan. I mean, look at
amazing.
what cricket can do. A country like Afghanistan, with so much of turmoil, with so much of political instability, you go and get a guy like a Rashid Khan who can become your go-to spinner. I mean, I don't know about now, but at least in the last few seasons, he's been the most unplayable spinner. What are
Oh,
your
just
thoughts on that,
amazing.
Ryan?
He's been amazing, and for so young. He was what, 19 when he started playing the
He
IPL.
started, yes,
um,
yes,
and
yes,
just absolutely amazing. He was probably, in my opinion, maybe the MVP of the whole tournament that first year. And not only
okay,
with his bowling, but he can field. Right, I've seen him make some amazing catches, and
catches,
he's not
yes.
he's not bad with a bat.
He's not bad at the
For a
bat, yes,
premium bat or a bowler,
yes. Bowler,
he knows how to use a bat pretty well, which is
yes.
not always a given with your mainline bowlers. And so I think Rashid Khan is amazing, and I hope he plays for a long, long time, both for Afghanistan and in the IPL.
Absolutely. Talking about Rashid Khan, I think one team which comes to my mind, which is really shaping up to give good competition to Chennai Super Kings, is the Hyderabad Sunrisers. I mean, they've got
Mm,
so many of these players who are in prime form, in great form, not just in the IPL, but in their respective national sides as well.
hmm.
People like Dave Warner, people like Kane Williamson, Rashid Khan. There are so many other names which the Sunrisers
Yeah.
have.
They
And I
got
think they
Bhuvi.
are in close. They've got Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. They've
Yeah.
got so many other players. I think they're looking like tough competition to the Chennai Super Kings. And I think finally we'll get to see two very, very competitive cricket teams playing the game. That makes the game even more exciting, isn't it? Only
Yeah.
when two tough competitors play a match will you know what cricket is all about, going down like a live wire till the end.
Yeah. Well, and their bowling unit for the past several years has just been outstanding. Definitely the best in the IPL, I think. They may not be the best team, but their bowling unit has just been as good as you could hope for, both with some fast bowlers and spinners. And so they've been a very tough team to play. Lots of low scoring matches, where they play the batsmen really well. And so, yeah, they're always going to be probably a team that other teams are not excited about playing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad as well, I think they're also a team which has evolved in the IPL. They were earlier called the Deccan Chargers, and then there was
Mm-hmm.
a switch of management, and now they're called Sunrisers Hyderabad. And
Hmm.
if many people don't know, they actually won one season of the IPL earlier before being the Sunrisers Hyderabad, and now they
Right.
have one or two. I think they have two. One, I think, against Sunrisers Hyderabad, one against Royal Challengers Bangalore, and the
Hmm.
other being probably the last season. I think the last season was won by Sunrisers Hyderabad, if I'm not wrong.
Last
I'm having a
season,
brain
I thought
freeze.
was Mumbai,
Mumbai,
wasn't
okay,
it?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a brain freeze. But I think that's one team which I'm looking forward to if the IPL is played this year or not. But let's just straight away dive into the main attraction of today's podcast. We're going to be joined in by a very, very special guest. He is, of course, a player of the Indian Premier League, has played so many other franchises. He's a very close friend of Ryan, and we're going to be speaking to him in a few minutes. So keep it locked. We'll come back in a few moments. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to Round the Wicket. You're listening to this podcast with me, Vivek Ryan, and my buddy Ryan Mayfield, right there in the United States of America. I'm going live from here, Bengaluru, India. And as promised earlier, we have a very, very special guest on our podcast. We've been giving you hints. We've been teasing the segment. We've told you about fast. Ryan, should we give them some more guesses before we actually do the drum roll and introduce our special guest for today?
I don't know. Do you think they can take any more?
I think they can. What about this player playing for the Raw? Since I'm from Bangalore and Ryan also has like a liking for the RCB team, he did play for Royal Challengers Bangalore in a few seasons, and he's also a fast bowler. So fast that he can actually go past 150 k's per hour.
Yeah.
Do you need any more guesses? I think it's now time to unveil our special guest on our podcast. Let the drum roll. And there we go. We have Varun Aaron with us live right now on our podcast. Such a pleasure to have you, Varun. Welcome to Round the Wicket. How's it going, my man?
Thanks, Vivek. Hey, Ryan. It's going. I mean, it's pretty quiet, to be honest. At the moment.
Yeah, actually, it's the wrong question to ask. I mean, the entire country is on a lockdown, and just before the podcast began, we were discussing about how you're working out in your home gym. Ryan has been your friend for a long, long time. And Ryan, I probably want you to ask, Varun, the most special question you had in mind for him. Ryan, over to you.
Oh man, the most special question I have. So I have a few different questions I wrote down. Let's start with this one. So this one will be fun. Why don't you like Stuart Broad? Why'd you break his nose?
Well, it's not like I don't like him. There's nobody I really dislike on the cricket field. It's just that it's one of those unfortunate incidents which just happen in cricket. The intention was definitely not to break his nose, but yeah, it's just that it's just I feel it was really unlucky for him for the ball to go between the visor and his helmet, because man, you just got like 2.5, like a 3-inch gap. So for a cricket ball to actually go in, you've got to have like a really bad day for that to happen.
Oh, and it's so unlucky. Like, it's unlucky because the gap for the ball is just barely big enough for it to fit. It's unlucky because it was against you, who throw the ball much harder than just about anybody else would. So yeah, I remember watching that live on television, and that was unlucky is a good word for it.
Stuart Broad has a love-hate relationship with the Indian cricketers. I think Varun breaking his nose and UV Paji sending him out for 6 sixes in that T20 game. So I think Stuart Broad has this love-hate relationship with the Indian players. What do you think hurt the most, the broken nose, or getting hit for 6 sixes in an over?
I mean, not because I did it, but I personally feel the broken nose because, I mean, after the 6 sixes, he's really become a different bowler. He's got close to, I don't know, with his one days and tests, he's close to maybe 600, 700 wickets. But I mean, I feel bad for him because his batting really suffered after that. And he actually, I think he had a couple of test hundreds before that. But then after that, he was never the same batsman. Yeah, I mean, the intention was never to injure somebody where they would lose confidence in their batting. But like I said, it was really unfortunate. But I was saying that, I mean, really hats off to him. He showed up in the next test with a face mask and played the whole game. I mean, not many people would do that. Most people would, I mean, take a match, take a series off and like heal up. He had a broken nose. So really hats off to him that he came out and showed a lot of spirit.
That really goes on to show, cricket is not just, a lazy game as some people put it. Reminds me of so many such more instances like Anil Kumble coming out to bowl after the broken jaw. There's Graham Smith who coming out to save his team with a broken finger. So I mean, this goes on to show, Ryan, for all the Americans listening, how cricket can be a game like it's like a war. I mean, you want to go all the way to save your team, save your game, and play the game with full passion.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but last year's IPL final with Shane Watson. After the match is over, and the whole leg of his pant is covered in blood because he's been batting out there with a huge gash, and was just amazing. So yeah, for Stuart Broad, definitely feel bad for the nose, and Varun, I know there's obviously no bad intention from you. It was just like you said, unlucky. And good for him for going out there and playing in the next match. So those things happen. It's part of the sport, I suppose.
100%. Yeah, this is part of the sport. I mean, we've all got injured playing cricket at some point. I mean, not like an injury, but like a blow and stuff like that. It's just it's at the end of the day, it's a really hard ball. So that's just bound to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Varun, I call myself an RCB fan, a Royal Challengers fan. Maybe because I'm from Bangalore, and we miss you, man. I mean, we miss seeing a fast bowler running in and kind of speeding in with those 150 k's per hour deliveries. So how's it going in Rajasthan? Rajasthan team. How's it going? Do you miss playing for RCB?
Yeah, I do miss playing for RCB because I live in Bangalore. I mean, most of my family is based in Bangalore, so it was really nice. Could spend a lot of time at home with the folks throughout the IPL, and obviously RCB is a great franchise. The atmosphere at the ground is one of the, I mean, if not the best in India, and it's a great franchise. But saying that, going to Rajasthan is a really different experience. When I say different, I mean really differently good experience. The team is really high on analysis, preparation. Like, we have our camps way before any IPL team can have their camps. We prepared really hard. Last season was like one of those seasons where we just missed out on small margins throughout. They could have gone anyway. I mean, we all know how T20s are. It's just one ball which makes a difference. Or just one boundary, it's just like the percentages are really low. But that being said, I mean, Rajasthan Royals is a great franchise. They're very player centric. Like, every player gets whatever they need when it comes to helping the team deliver and winning matches. So yeah, I've been in quite a few franchises. And I would say Rajasthan Royals have, like, we have the best coaching setup, best team atmosphere, and we practice and train really hard.
I feel really bad now because I felt RCB has only cake smashing sessions, and probably the best part about RCB so far has been Mr. Nags. Danish is a good friend. Danish, if you're listening, a shout out to you. Well, but yeah, I think we should take some cue from that player analysis. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, well, yesterday or last time we were recording, Vivek and I were talking about Rajasthan Royals and how, for me, one of the things that sets them apart from some other franchises is that they're very steady, right? Most of the time, you have teams that start off really bad, but then get better as the season goes on. You have some teams that start off really, really good, but then don't make it through to the end of the tournament. But Rajasthan, I think, is probably the most steady team out of all the teams. They just kind of play their game. They're not there to show off. They don't, usually bring on players that are trying to make a name for themselves more than help the team. And so that's been probably the most impressive thing to me about Rajasthan Royals. What do you think what is it about the team or the culture that makes it that way?
I think it comes down to the ethos the owners have laid down right from the start. Because if you remember right from their first series, so from the first IPL, they had a team with not the biggest names, even though IPL was a new franchise, stuff like that. And they still won the IPL. I'm not saying they had like teams with like a team with no big names. They had quite a few big names, but compared to the other teams, they weren't really big player heavy. They were more like a mix of great Indian players, upcoming players, and stuff like that. So I feel the franchise always believes in supporting players and helping them also in their international careers, not just in the IPL. They want people to come into the franchise and go away being better players, better humans, and stuff like that. They talk a lot about stuff like that. But whereas it might not be the same in a lot of the other franchise, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to just win the trophy, which is the foremost aim for everybody. But at the same time, Rajasthan wants to win it more than anybody else, because they won the first and haven't won a single trophy after that. But they believe that by staying grounded, having a great team atmosphere, it will be easier for us to win the trophy. And I feel like when you play for such a team, the loyalty is really high, and you want to do well for them and want to make the team well, which is something which would echo throughout the entire team. And saying which, even RCB was a really good team. We would really want to play for the team. We also had a great coaching setup, great captain, and the fans are unbelievable, man, in Bangalore. That stadium really want the fans to win, because I would say that RCB has the most committed fans amongst all franchises.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to several matches there, and it's a great atmosphere. The ground is smaller, so it feels like everybody is closer. You feel like you're almost on the field, in some of the different seats, and a lot of great, super fun, high energy matches that have been played there. So yeah, I would agree with that for sure. So, we talked a few days ago, we're kind of messaging back and forth, and you mentioned that you think the IPL will still happen this year. What do you think that could look like?
Yeah, I think it might happen. There's no signal from the government or the BCCI till now that IPL will not happen. So it's pretty likely that it will happen. It's just the question of when. It's such a unpredictable time at the moment. So nobody can really put a finger on a date or actually say for sure that the IPL will happen. So, at this moment, we can only speculate and say the IPL can possibly happen, because there is not, nobody said anything otherwise. So, for now, I think it's on, because it means a lot to the fans, for one. People would just flock to the stadiums, I feel, for every single game, because people are just starved of sport and entertainment, and also it means a lot to the players and the franchises, because they invested a lot of time, money, personnel. So and the build up to the IPL starts right from the auction. So yeah, there's a lot which has gone to it, and everybody wants to make it happen.
Yeah.
Varun, I have a question for you. In terms of the public sentiment of the entire world now facing the COVID-19 pandemic, there's always been a debate on the parallel that, what's more important, the safety of the spectators or playing a game. On that front, what are your thoughts on probably playing the game without spectators in an enclosed stadium? I know cricket has been played in an indoor stadium before, and that has not been maybe that popular as a stadium which has been outdoor. But what are your thoughts on playing the game without the spectators? Just to give an example, the World Wrestling Entertainment, which again is a very, very popular show, WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown, has been performing without spectators so far. They've gone ahead and actually telecast WrestleMania, which is their premier pay-per-view, without spectators, and that's happened for the first time in the history of World Wrestling Entertainment. So, in terms of the IPL happening without spectators, do you think that will ever work out for the format, considering the energy and the cheers and the chants? That's what really adds up to the glamour and the excitement of the game.
I mean, from a player's perspective, it will not be the same because playing the IPL, one of the biggest factors in playing the IPL is the atmosphere, the excitement, and the pressure you feel in front of a whole stadium, which is what all of us play for. It's actually something which is really enjoyable. The kind of adrenaline rush you get in front of a full stadium, I mean, you just can't recreate that in practice or in daily life. So yeah, I mean, if it happens, I mean, none of us are in a position to dictate terms because I mean, it's going to be based on what the organizers want and what the team owners want. But if it happens, I mean, definitely we would be really happy that it's happening rather than it not happening. But to be honest, I'm sure every player would say that it will not be the same. There will be a massive difference.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, as you mentioned, the RCB fans. I mean, there have been times that we waited till 2 or 3 in the morning, considering that we're entering May now, and in Bangalore it starts raining in May. And there are times when, I've seen when I was standing with my mic outside, waiting for spectators to come out. I've asked them, they're saying, no, we're going to wait. We're not going to sell our tickets in black or give it away to somebody. We'll wait till the game gets over. And actually, there was a match between RCBA and Chennai Super Kings where actually went down till 2 o'clock in the morning. And they played the game. The groundsmen really dried up the field. And I mean, as you said, without the fans, it's just not an IPL game.
Those games are nightmares because what happens is when it rains so much in Chinnaswamy, the wicket gets a bit damp. And compared to all stadiums, when the Chinnaswamy wicket gets damp, as a fast bowler, you just don't have any grip when you bowl on the surface. So man, it's actually like a bowler's nightmare when you play in a really rain shortened match, because I mean you don't mind the overs coming down. You know how it's going to be. It's just going to be like balls to the wall from ball one, but just the surface gets really slippery.
That's right.
Yeah. So, different question here. One of the things they've been talking about with all the COVID stuff is for the bowlers about shining the ball and using saliva. Right? Have you seen any of this? I've
been reading about such stuff. See, in a T20 game, it really doesn't matter that much because the ball really doesn't swing after the second or third over.
Right.
Fourth over in like a really good, like in not very dry conditions. But it will play a massive role in the 4-day game and the 5-day and the test matches, because that's when you really rely on movement to get wickets. And in T20, you're mainly bowling defensive stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it will matter with the red ball for sure.
So with that, like, what do you think about that? Do you think that is there a good solution to that, or is it? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's hard because as a bowler, you don't want that to happen. To be honest. Because at the end of the day, the ball doesn't really shine well with sweat. And to be honest, they might bring in the rule, but it's going to be really hard to monitor. I mean, the umpires have their hands full anyway, and they can't really be stressing and looking wherever the ball is going, if guys are putting spit on it, not putting spit on it. So, I mean, even if it comes into play, it's going to be really difficult for the umpires to monitor it. I'm not saying that guys would want to cheat, but at the end of the day, everything in cricket is batsman centric. And the one thing, it's not what we have going for us, but the one thing which we can use to our advantage is swinging the ball. And now if we don't put spit on it, it's going to be difficult to swing the ball. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, it's up to the guys who make all the decisions. But and obviously player, and if the vaccine hasn't been found, then that might be realistic because you don't want people to get infected and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, from a bowler's perspective, it will be a bit difficult. But like I said, if there's no vaccine and everybody's not being vaccinated, I feel that's the safer option.
Yeah. I saw Chehal had made a comment about it. He's always a little bit of a jokester, and the thing that he said was, well, if the bowlers can't do that, then we have to make, some sort of rule for the batsmen to keep it fair. And so his idea is that anytime a batsman would hit a six, the batsman has to be the one to go retrieve it.
I trust you to say something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you would be making like a comedy show, yeah, that would be applicable. But that's not going to that's not going to happen. We all know that. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. Whatever happens, we just got to be okay with it and move on.
But speaking about Chahal, Ryan, I think Virat Kohli had mentioned that Chahal has a lot of other talents. I mean, I think he's also an extremely good chess player. And he also is a chartered accountant, if I'm not wrong. I read this sometime earlier. I don't know. Varun can correct me if I'm wrong. On those lines, Varun, have you ever had, when you're growing up, an alternate career that you wanted to pursue, or was it always cricket from the beginning?
I mean, the first thing which I wanted to be was a fighter pilot, and I was obsessed with it. I think the first thing I ever drew as a kid was a fighter pilot. So I used to draw with the scale, like the body, the wings, the fins, and my first comics were these comics called Commando comics. They're these British World War II comics, and I have like 500 of them now. So I mean, I was obsessed with being a fighter pilot. But then you can't really fly a plane when you're 9 or 10 years old. And by that time I was playing cricket, and I realized I'm decent at cricket. So I kept playing cricket till I was in school, and I kept getting better. So then I thought that I might be a decent cricketer, like past school and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, if cricket cricket didn't happen, I would definitely be in flying fighter jets, because I think it's just thing. I mean, I think it's speed at the end of the day, which I was really obsessed with since a kid.
That's
kind
awesome.
of put the speed from the fighter pilot dreams to the cricket field with all the fast bowling. Before we started the podcast, I was discussing with Ryan that how we need to see more bowlers like you, especially in national interest, especially to kind of have more fast bowlers like you in the Indian cricket team. On that front, where do you think fast bowling is going in terms of the Indian scenario? Are we seeing more people coming up to being great fast bowlers? And when we say fast bowler, it's not just about speed, but it's also about the line and length, because you can bowl really fast, but if you bowl it on a full toss, so you can really get it out of the park. So in terms of young fast bowlers, are we seeing that happening in India? Upcoming fast bowlers training only for speed and bounce? And we'd really love to see somebody come up like you, or when you look around, people like Brett Lee or Shoaib Akhtar, Dale Steyn, Sean Tate. Can we see somebody like that on those lines coming up in India in the future? Are the youngsters looking at that front?
Yeah, why not? I really feel that India in the future will be producing a lot of fast bowlers, because technically Indians develop at an earlier age compared to a lot of other countries, because we just play really high volumes and play a lot of cricket since we're young. Because like in other countries, kids don't just play cricket; they play a lot of other sports growing up. But in India, just the way the culture is, a lot of kids just stick to one sport. So if the cricketers mostly, like in most cases, grow up just playing cricket. So we've already gotten great volumes of bowling or batting, and our technique's really good. And now with like the social, like this internet age kicking in, I feel everybody is more educated with training, and there's a lot more awareness with training. And at the end of the day, obviously bowling is really important when it comes to bowling fast, but also you got to be strong, you got to be agile, you got to be flexible. And there are really good trainers in India now who work with fast bowlers. So yeah, training is evolving, people are evolving, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot of fast bowlers in the years to come.
What do you do to kind of keep up your pace? I know you've hit more than 150 on so many occasions, but what do you do in terms of training? I know that the Indian cricket scene has now taken up fitness and nutrition and training very, very seriously. You mentioned about Robin Uthappa as your neighbor. I know that fitness and training has done a huge difference to his performance on the field. Virat Kohli is another example of how nutrition and training can help you evolve as a cricketer. What do you do in terms of training, Varun, to kind of be the fast bowler that you are? And what are your tips for upcoming young fast bowlers?
I think more than training is something very very personal. When I say personal, I mean every individual needs a different kind of training and different pattern of training because no human is the same. No human body is the same. So it's not necessarily what I do would suit somebody else, and it's not necessarily what somebody else does would suit me. But I feel the key is to be really committed and be at it as a fast bowler 365 days of the year. Because I feel fast bowlers are like machines. You can't really take too much time off. You've got to be at it all the time. If not working on your bowling, working on your fitness, then you have those one percenters like Pilates and yoga, and the nutrition is really big because I mean at the end of the day, whatever you put into your body, your body is going to give you only that much. So yeah, like I said, people are a lot more aware now of how to go about things, and yeah, when it comes to fitness and nutrition, I just feel staying consistent is really important with what you eat, and obviously healthy stuff, not consistently unhealthy, consistently healthy stuff, and consistently working on the areas you think you need to work on, and staying strong, doing a lot of running, a lot of bowling, and a lot of gym. It's got to be a good mix of everything. Some people go extra; they just go run a lot, or gym a lot, or just bowl a lot. It doesn't work like that. You've got to have a right balance of everything.
So I know we're probably running out of time here soon. So I've got some kind of rapid fire questions for you, right? So 3 questions and just give me your quick answers on them. Okay.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite teammates that you've played with?
I would say Dhawal Kulkarni, Umesh Yadav, KL Rahul, Murli Vijay. Yes.
What about when you were growing up? Did you have any favorite players or specifically like fast bowlers that you maybe wanted to be like?
I definitely really liked Andy Roberts for some reason when I was growing up, but I never really had an idol, to be honest. But I liked the way Andy Roberts went about his business.
Okay, and last one here. Who is your favorite batsman to bowl to?
The most challenging batsman I've bowled to would definitely be Rahul Dravid. Because I mean, he just had the knack of making you look really slow, no matter how quick you bowled.
Yeah,
and
I remember the first time that we hung out, we talked about Dravid because I said that he was like one of my very favorites, and I remember you just being like, "Oh no, like not Dravid, like he's everything that's against what you are, It's like he lives to defeat guys like you."
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would say Rahul Dravid, the most favorite batsman I've bowled to ever. Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I've got one bonus rapid fire question. Then that is marriage or bachelorhood. What would you choose?
Man, obviously marriage. I can't even say otherwise.
Can she hear you right now?
I wouldn't be giving this interview if it wasn't for marriage. Like oh god. Yeah, man.
That's good.
That's a good one.
Vivek, anything else?
Yeah. Well, that's about it. I think it's been a pleasure to speak to Varun over this podcast and get to know some really interesting things about the current scenario in the IPL, his favorite cricketers, his personal likes, dislikes. He's also spoken about his ideas about fitness and nutrition. So it's been an absolute pleasure, Varun, to have you on our podcast. And what are your thoughts about the combination of an American, loving cricket so much, teaming up with an Indian to discuss and speak about cricket? Do you think it's a cool idea?
It's crazy, man. The amount Ryan knows, I feel a lot of Indian cricket fans wouldn't know.
Okay.
It just shows how much he loves the game, and yeah, it's I mean that's something which I really like, and I just I feel cricket should spread to other countries and not just like the countries which are playing cricket at the moment, because it's a game which which not just it teaches you a lot. It's a great leveler. You just can't turn up every day, and even if you're feeling great or you're in great form, it's not necessarily you're going to get a 5-wicket haul or you're going to score 100. So yeah, it's a game which a lot of youngsters should play throughout the world, and I'm great. People like Ryan are encouraging the sport in other countries and loving the sport more than anything.
Yeah. Well, Varun, thanks so much again for coming on. I appreciate you being here and chatting with us for a little while.
Cheers. It was really good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Varun, for joining us on the podcast.
Bye.
Well, that was a pretty interesting chat with Varun, isn't it, Ryan? So much we heard about cricket and about his personal life, and he was the first really international celebrity guest. So I'm really excited to put this podcast out for the world to listen into. And as you said, I think cricket should become more and more popular in non-cricket loving nations. And now it's your job to make, and mine and your job to make this podcast really popular. Throw in the love, bring in the support, show us all your support you have and the love you have for the game. What are your thoughts on today's podcast before we end the show?
Yeah, it was great having Varun on. I think he's a great guy and was an awesome guest. And so, yeah, just excited to have him here at kind of the beginning of this podcast. And so if you're listening and you enjoyed that, then, I would just ask that you would kind of share this, on your social media, or send it to WhatsApp, or, just share it with people around you. Let's make this grow, and we can get more awesome guests on like Varun and just continue having great conversations.
Absolutely. I've had a blast on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Vivek Ryan, signing off from Bengaluru with my buddy Ryan Mayfield from Arkansas. You're listening to Around the Wicket. It's a podcast by an American guy and an Indian guy talking, living, and just enjoying cricket all the way. We'll see you next time. Keep it locked in and enjoy yourselves.